In this segment, we're going to talk about finding out if your troop is ready to travel and the expectations for girls and adults when traveling. So, are your girls ready? Are the girls able to be away from their parents and home? Are they able to adapt to unfamiliar surroundings and situations? Can they make good decisions? Do they have previous cross cultural experiences? Are they able to get along with each other and handle challenges? And can they work as a team? These are all questions that you should be able to ask and answer of yourself. The blend of a group is as important or even more important than the individuals involved. A successful trip is dependent on the ability of the group to work and function well together as a team. A group needs to establish a working relationship prior to traveling together, and this can be done through planning meetings, activities like cooperative games or a team's challenge course, and electronic correspondences prior to the trip. Ways of addressing differences and emergencies, whether life threatening, cultural, or due to individual attitudes, should be discussed prior to travel. A Girl Scout trip is not something planned for girls by grown ups. The girls themselves do the planning with the guidance of adults. In this way, taking Girl Scout trip is also an important way for girls to learn. Start off on the right foot by creating a safe and open environment for girls to communicate with each other and with you. Establish roles. How do you envision your role in the planning? How do the girls envision theirs? Encourage girls to give input, make it a two-way conversation. Helping girls reach solutions by asking questions is an important role for adults. Asking questions will guide them in the right direction without giving them the specific answer. And most important, make sure that you're having fun. Sometimes we focus on the simple what destination do you want to see and ignore all the variables that enter into the equation. These are all questions that can be considered during the very beginning of the discussion. Planning every trip starts by asking questions like, what do we hope to experience? Who will we want to talk to and meet? What kind of questions will we ask them? Where are we interested in going? When are we all available to go? Are there physical barriers that cannot be accommodated? What are visiting hours and the need for advance reservations? What are our options for getting there? What is the least and most this trip could cost? What can we do to get ourselves ready? How will we earn the money? What is the availability of drinking water, restrooms, and eating places? Where is emergency help available? What safety factors must we consider? What will we do as we travel? What will we do when we get there? How will we share our story? Now we're going to move into trip preparation. So when planning a level 4 or a level 5 trip, which are our out of state, out of the country, or any trip lasting longer than 3 nights, meetings with girls and their caregivers provide opportunities to interpret troop and group trip plans and costs to the caregivers and to obtain their approval for activities as well as written permission. These are some of the things to discuss in a parent or guardian meeting. Your itinerary. This should be a detailed plan of where you're going and when, what you'll be doing there. Transportation plans. So are you driving? Are you renting a car? Are you taking an airplane? Are you taking an airplane and then renting a car once you get there? All those kind of specific details. Your participant list. So the list of everybody going with you, any necessary permission forms you may need, your standards for behavior and dress. These can be very important if you're going to a world center. Most world centers have very specific dress codes that you'll need to adhere to. Health examinations and immunizations, packing and equipment list. So what can they bring with them? Your insurance, accident and illness coverage, your emergency procedures. So if you are there and something happens, how will you go about handling it? Who will contact whom? All of those details. Trip payments, if any. So if you're having parents pay a certain amount, when are those due? What happens if they don't pay? Those kind of things. Passport and visa check-ins. So if necessary, if you're doing an international trip, you do need a passport. Depending on where you're going, you might also need a visa. So these are good times to make sure that those have already been purchased, or maybe it's your very first parent meeting and you're telling them that they're going to need them. Keeping in mind that you cannot buy passports with troop funds. They are individual documents. They must be paid for out of families' pockets. And then your best options for carrying and or converting spending money. All of these are great things to talk about in your parent meeting. Expectations. So when we talk about girl participants and what we expect for them. You'll be traveling and living as a group and will spend a great deal of time together prior to the trip. Each group member has strengths and weaknesses, good and bad days, and fortunate and unfortunate things that happen to them. To make the experience enjoyable and beneficial for everyone, each participant needs to be willing to make compromises. Everyone has to leave a little bit of individuality behind and become part of the group. Everyone has to share their strong points and work to compensate for weaknesses. They need to work together to help each other and create an experience that each of them, with all of their differences, can enjoy and learn from. All participants in the group must be willing to be courteous, cooperative, and willing to help other group members. Be punctual and responsible for themselves and their belongings. Use the buddy system. Do not leave the group. Immediately notify an adult of illness or injury. And regularly attend pre-trip meetings and stick to the payment schedule. We are now going to go into expectations for adults. So the first one we're going to start with is what we're going to call our travel lead, or our person in charge of the trip. Most of the time, this is one of the troop leaders, but not always. It could be a parent who has a passion for travel, who likes planning those kinds of things, and is taking on the lead for this piece. So the expectation for them is that they will complete the troop travel application forms and submit them to council in a timely manner. They will call parent meetings to discuss troop plans and get necessary permissions and support. They will oversee planning and budgeting to ensure practicality. They will call a parent meeting for a final briefing and final details before you leave. Upon return, they will evaluate the trip with the participants and seek opportunities for the group or individuals to share their experience. They should be just as willing to compromise as the girls and put the girls first and put the group best interest first. Remember, it is not an expectation of the travel lead to plan the whole trip by themselves. We always remember to focus on girl-led, especially in trip planning. The girls should be in charge, and you are there to be the voice of reason. Next, we're going to talk about the expectation of chaperones. Chaperones must be registered Girl Scout members who have successfully completed a background check. No other adult besides chaperones should be attending the trip. Adult chaperones are expected to pay their own travel-related expenses. Troop money is for the girls' use, though girls may choose to use some of their funds to help cover a portion of the cost of chaperones. Chaperones should be a positive role model. They should respect all girls and adults equally with no preferential treatment. They should be willing to create a safe space for girls and prioritize the safety of all girls. Support and reinforce a group agreement. Handle pressure and stress by modeling flexibility and a sense of humor. Create an experience for and with the girls. And be aware of the types of conversations they have in front of the girls. As you ask for chaperones, please be sure to look for those who are committed to the above expectations and are aware of the safety guidelines. A lot of times chaperones are going to be your troop leaders or your troop support people and will hopefully already exhibit all of these qualities. Special note in chaperones and adults when attending on travel. In an effort to maintain the educational girl-led component of programs, Girl Scout discourages troops from choosing to take mother-daughter trips or trips with more adults than the girl-to-adult ratio, and encourages instead that troops stick to the safety ratios laid out in the volunteer resource guide. However, if you do have special needs or special circumstances, please let us know and we are happy to accommodate those. So let's talk about the difference between chaperones and adult participants. Chaperones must be registered Girl Scout members who have successfully completed a background check and additional training. Chaperones have care, custody, and control of the girls attending. GSOH prefers that all adults attending troop travel be chaperones and not just adult participants. Adult participants are not permitted to be in charge of a group or left alone with the girls at any time, and they do not count in girl to adult safety ratios. All adults attending any Girl Scout travel must be registered and background checked Girl Scout members. The big difference between chaperones and adult participants is that chaperones have taken that volunteer training needed to be able to have care, custody, and control of the girls, and adult participants have not.